The first time we sort of talked to you about Lexafide and we did a demo on it, we were just kind of hooked on, okay, this has the potential of being a game-changing technology on the intake side.
Welcome back to the Lexafide Lens, where we discuss industry topics with experts within legal and legal tech. I'm Terry Dorman, the CRO of Lexafide, and I'm joined today by Asim Badaruzzaman. He's a partner at Sbaiti Company, LLC, a multi-practice firm based out in New Jersey. Asim, welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Terry. Nice to be here.
What are you seeing out there in terms of trends, and specifically, if you're sort of betting on things to grow the firm, which I know is one of your objectives, what is out there that you're really trying to embrace or really kind of put a plan around?
Growth for us looks like something that's sustained, but it's also controlled. We want to grow in ways that make sense for us. And what really makes sense is working on high quality cases that we believe in, and doing it, ideally at scale in terms of our operations and back-end operations. So what we really need for that kind of growth is technologies that we can leverage that just help us augment our capabilities. So we're not really looking to replace people. We're looking for technologies that really augment their work and help them lift a lot more. So that's sort of our growth philosophy. It's still being tested as we're 2 years into this experiment in our mass tort practice. So, but it's been working out pretty well for us so far.
One of the things we've been talking about in this series of interviews is how AI is actually driving time back into the firms. So, if you can make a task that used to take 20 minutes, 5 minutes, and et cetera, it produces time, and how you actually use that time for things like, creativity or new initiatives to get more clients, whatever it may be. It sounds like you guys are thinking along a similar way.
Absolutely. The addition of time doesn't necessarily mean you can just take on more clients. Sometimes that may be true, but it also means you have time to do other things, whether it's take on a pro bono project or be more innovative with the work that you're doing already, and gives you a little bit more time to focus on new arguments and ways of doing things that are better and newer. So it definitely is a game changer in many ways into how we approach things and how we litigate our cases.
Awesome. When you think about intakes and what you're looking to accomplish, there's challenges, which obviously Lexafide as a business we're trying to address, but I'd love to understand what are the specific challenges you see today through your intake process?
I think there are a couple of critical things that happen in the intake process that, number one, slow down the process, and number two, reduce the effectiveness of what you're trying to achieve. The first thing is just the speed of the response, right? I mean, a lot of new clients or potential clients that come through our doors for a lot of firms in the kind of litigation that we do are through digital advertising or web form fills for inquiries. And being able to respond to them quickly. I mean, the statistics on the drop-off rate after the first hour, across industries are pretty staggering, right? So you have to try to be responsive as quickly as possible. So that's challenge number one. Challenge number two is being able to gather as much data as possible, as quickly as possible, so that you can make decisions on, is this someone that we can even help? And if it is, how can we gather all the data points that we need to make sure that we set this case up for success down the line? So those are very key challenges in the intake process that we're always trying to solve.
Yeah, we've been hearing, a few times, we've always done it that way, being the, 6 most dangerous words in business. And that, I think that applies for, obviously technology firms, but really any firm, anybody that's not looking at a worldview of things and understanding what's possible. So it's good to hear that, you and your firm are adopting that type of philosophy of consistently looking forward, not necessarily dismissing what's been in the past, because if you've had successful results, you don't want to dismiss it.
Absolutely.
But take that and even tweak that to make it even better, because maybe the landscape has shifted a little bit. Sounds like that's what I'm hearing.
Not everything is broken. Not everything needs to be fixed. Some things, it just makes sense to keep doing it over and over again because it's a successful model, or it's a successful way of doing it. But sometimes you need to do things a little differently.
Awesome. Your team has been great to work with on our front. So, the Lexafide Intakes platform is focused on a few things. Would love to get your take on, why you're engaged with us, what problems you're looking to solve, and, how we can do a better job for you.
What we were talking about earlier about how we like to gather as much data as we possibly can about our clients and their cases up front in the intake process. That's something that we were really interested in, leveraging Lexafide to accomplish that goal. whether it's being able to communicate more easily with the clients or just gather mechanically as much data up front. The first time we sort of talked to you about Lexafide and we did a demo on it, we were just kind of hooked on, okay, this has the potential of being a game-changing technology on the intake side.
Yeah, another thing that you mentioned in one of our early discussions, which I thought was interesting, the Salesforce philosophy being one of kind of interoperability, and you're accessible by design, meaning it's not these sort of closed black box systems. It's more recognizing that there's going to be other bespoke systems that are going to be used by your firm, and you want them to talk well together. And I think we had a mind meld on that, because it was like, okay, I get it. And we're going to be part of the process. I think many of our peer vendors are guilty of trying to really box everybody else out. And I cannot see a scenario where a single AI provider is going to be able to do everything that you need to do. I can't imagine that being possible. So I was happy to hear that you had that same type of thought process.
If that's possible, I want to build it. But if it's not possible, then I agree with you. The interoperability is exactly what the name of the game is, because not every tool can do everything. And so for the tools to be able to talk to each other and be able to, what I was saying earlier, how our firm operates in terms of rowing in the same direction, getting all these tools to row in the same direction, I think that's extremely important.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see you guys have the same philosophy.
Absolutely. We spent a lot of time on integration. I have engineers specifically looking at how do we integrate with these different tool sets, the ones you're using already, and then also how do we sort of layer on top of them, versus you're not going to be going through a migration, so to speak, or a huge implementation of a new system. It's more just our product sitting on top of it and pushing and pulling the right types of data from these different systems.
The more you can make it plug and play, the easier it is for people to adopt. So
that's the goal. Awesome. I want to thank you for coming in today. This is incredibly helpful. I think your insights are valuable, not only to us, but to the broader community. Really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Terry. It was a great conversation.